Once you awaken, there really isn't going back. Once you realize something about the world, or once somebody reveals a certain truth to you about the world, or even a certain half-truth about the world, it's very hard to unsee that or revert back to what you were. Even if you still indulge in the same habits, even if you still hang around the same people, the thought patterns in your brain, they change. Your aura, part of it changes. The act of a spiritual awakening within itself, I feel like, is one of those things that's ever blossoming. It's not one of those things that is just one and done. Like, you don't just have your awakening. You don't just have the end. I feel like true enlightenment is death. Like, you're not really gonna reach that stage of true enlightenment and nirvana until your physical manifestation is no longer here. As long as you're on this earth, there's always going to be another awakening or another realization to where you realize you were dreaming before, or like the way you were seeing the world before was small or narrow. Even as you grow more spiritually, you'll never really reach the point where everything, I guess you can say, makes sense. You're never really going to reach that point where you just know everything. It's something to strive for, and it's something to work hard at, but it's one of those things that you have to almost ask yourself, how fast can I learn another lesson? How fast can I be put in a position to where I'm humbled again? A lot of the time we get put in these positions to where we learn something or we get good at something. Especially, I found myself, my own Achilles heel is just not really wanting to do anything that I know I can't do, in the sense of, oh yeah, like I'll get really good at something, but then I want to just keep doing what I'm good at. And that's great, because at the end of the day, you only get better at the things that you do if you continue to practice them. And if you don't, then slowly but surely you will lose that skill, just like anything else. But on the contrary, or I guess on the opposite hand, you also do have to bear in mind that humility does come from you putting yourself in a position to where you admit that there is something that you are incapable of, that you are striving for, or there is something that you want to reach. You don't want to be in a position where you're learning all of this information and then suddenly you become so arrogant that you believe that you're above anything or anyone, you know? I feel like that's a common trend almost within a lot of these spaces, where you almost develop this spiritual ego that I feel like is even worse than the just regular residing ego, where your ego kind of morphs into this manifestation of an individual that thinks he's really above another individual, when in reality, you and them are subject to the same thoughts. No matter how far you progress throughout this spiritual journey or this journey in life in general, you still have the same vulnerabilities as your fellow man. You know, the difference between somebody with anger issues and somebody without is just the mastery of that emotion, is the ability to sit within that emotion or hold that emotion, and to how to navigate it. That's the only difference. And the reality is, if you don't practice it, or if you take it for granted, or if you believe that you're so much above it, you can just as easily be susceptible to it. So once you awaken, once you realize something about yourself, about the world, about anything, you can't really go back to what you once knew, because what you once knew is going to seem trivial to what you do know now. And like I said, even if you want to continue to indulge in the same habits that you know might be self-destructive, or if you want to continue to do the same things that you know might not serve you, that little voice in your head is going to be telling you, yo, get it together, or like, yo, this isn't it. Or when you feel like shit, or when you don't feel good, you're going to know, it's like, okay, I know it's coming from this, and this. I know if I don't take the time to recharge, this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. And the test or the challenge is, how much can you learn and then apply? How much can you realize and then apply? Focus on that aspect of it, as opposed to just jumping into, oh yeah, I'm this person, I'm that person, and this person's not, and I'm this better, I'm better. As opposed to just jumping into that headspace. Focus on the habit, focus on the act, focus on the method.